What got you into real estate?
I have a cousin that's a home builder in St. Louis, and he told me a story that a builder that he knew of bought a lot for $300,000. He put $700,000 in the house, and so he had $1 million in it. He planned on selling it for $1.4 million. The neighbor across the street had an old house that he listed for $1.4 million. So the builder decided to raise his price to $1.8 million. He sold his house and made $800,000. And my cousin looked at me and he says, "Wouldn't you hate that?" And I said, "Hate what?" He said, "Paying taxes on $800,000. And I said, "No, that's exactly the kind of problem I'm looking for." And I was a 19-year-old man at the time. Yeah. And so I just find it funny, people's perception that my cousin took that as a problem to make $800,000 on one deal. And so I actually got into this business in the new construction side back when I was 20 years old.
How long ago?
I'm 43, so 23 years ago.
Got it. And it's funny, right? Like perception. You and I would love, well, maybe not so much anymore, but at a point where like, man, if we could just make $800,000 and pay tax on that, that'd be great.
Yep. It's a good problem.
But then you get to a certain point in your career, and now it's a negative. How do I not pay taxes on $800,000? That's right. So, okay, so that was what inspired you.
Yeah.
What was your first real estate deal?
I built my first house.
Just right out the gate.
Just right out the gate. I started off in development, infill, new construction. All my family's in that, and I knew they wouldn't let me fail. Mm-hmm. And so I built a house in the year 2000, and I quickly sold it. Made I think $40,000 or $50,000. I thought, boy, that was fun. I'd like to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
No, it wasn't for my first. And you know, in St. Louis, the numbers were small. I think I had like 230 in it and sold it for 280.
Okay. 20 years ago, that seems kind of high. I thought St. Louis, the prices were a little bit lower.
230? It was the lot was $30,000, so I guess I had about 200 in the house.
Okay, so that worked really well.
Did.
How many times did you do that?
Not many. I realized I was not a very good adult babysitter, which is what I call being a general contractor.
Got it.
The idea of I do a few a year at most, and so at 43 years old, I think I finally am honest with myself enough to say, "Philip, you should never build a house again, because the only reason why you ever built a house was to pick out the colors." I should have been an interior designer. I like trends, I like fashion, I like to know where things are headed, and I think I went through all the trouble of building new construction just to pick out the colors.
So you got an eye for it.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah. So you're the one that walks into the house like, okay, we need to do this, 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 and this.
Yep.
But managing the people to do it, not so much.
And then the municipalities are never fun. The permitting process, dealing with. I always say if you're in contracting, it's how many grandmas get sick, or how many they're always having. My grandma's sick, I got to go out of town, or there's.
See, I always heard my mom's in the hospital.
Oh, they're always right. My mom's in the hospital.
Yeah.
I think one of the funniest claims is that workers' comp claims are like 80 or 90% on Mondays. And the reason why it's because they all go out and get in bar fights on the weekend and get taken claim on Monday. So it's a business that didn't really appeal to me. I was starting to become a wholesaler. I was doing driving for dollars in like 2004. Before that was even a terminology, I was wholesaling before I even knew what that terminology was. I've always just found real estate interesting. To where even on Sundays I drive around and look at houses, even though my day job was real estate.
Gotcha. So you're flipping houses, not in love with it. You said you got into wholesaling. Yeah. How was that transition?
I loved it. Meeting with families and unlocking their problems and spending think about with new construction, it may take you from start to finish a year to get your check. With wholesaling, I can meet with a family and in a few hours, I would be three weeks away from having my check. Mm-hmm. Right, and so I was addicted to that dopamine hit of a deal junkie, I guess you'd say.
Well, the speed of money.
Yep, the speed of money. Yeah, right. Definitely.
Okay, so that was a natural transition. It was easy. There was no headaches there.
Well, I didn't really get serious about it until about 2009. I built my first $1 million spec in 2007. And I lost it all. It was
I call it that was not the right year.
Not the right year for that in St. Louis, especially. I call it the Lamborghini House because I lost $200,000 on that house. Very proud of what I built, quality-wise. Once again, colors-wise, and the actual craft was good. It was just the timing. The funny thing about life and timing is that timing made me look bad. Mm-hmm. Had I built it last year, I might have made $200,000 extra. Right. Just how the world is today.
Have you kept an eye on that house?
I do. I drive by it all the time.
How is it?
Beautiful. It's a beautiful home. I'm proud of it to this day.
The crown jewel in that neighborhood?
It's a turnover neighborhood. I would say it's in the middle of the new construction. It's one of those that's about 60% new construction.
Gotcha. Okay, so wholesaling, enjoyed that, speed of money. What did you do after that?
I think everybody in 2008 thought the deals come from foreclosures. To this day, when people hear that I'm a flipper, they think, oh, you work in foreclosures. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I both know that very small percentage of our business is from foreclosures.
Right.
And so in 2008, when the whole world was dying, the REO, which means bank-owned properties, business. I thought, I'm going to get into that because I want to know about, just like with anyone, I want to know about deals before anyone else. I'm a big believer in trying to work smarter, not harder. So I went to work for this REO company, thought I had it all figured out. I would know about houses 6 months early. I'd get in, I'd work my numbers, I'd be ready to buy it. And then they had something called a owner-occupied look-back period, where for the first 21 to 30 days, depending on who the seller was, owner-occupants are the only ones that could bid. So by day 21, I was just like every other investor in town because they had all got to see it for 3 weeks.
Yeah, the speed was nothing there.
Yep. The speed was, well, I knew about it early and it helped me none. And so in St. Louis, we had a local REIA. Someone put out an ad saying, I need someone that has these skills: negotiation, think on their feet, in essence, describing what an acquisition person does. And I sat up in my bed and I looked at my wife and I said, he just described to me. And so I went to in for the interview. I went on my first ride along with him, and I'll never forget it because I knew the moment I got the job. And it was we're walking through the house, and he says, "What do you think this house will sell for?" And I said, $239. I said maybe 280 if it was interior in the neighborhood. This was right on the main drag. So we go through the whole house. This was actually a referral from a realtor, and he asked the realtor, "What do you think this house will sell for?" She goes, $240. But if it was on the interior, it would sell for $280. And I knew in that moment I got the job because what he knew is I just didn't take the comps and say, oh, these are all 280 houses. Not every house in the neighborhood is the same. If you're on the main drag at the front of a neighborhood, it's not as worth as much as the guy that has the better lot in the back. And so to be able to see things for what they are.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll ride with you for the first 6 months. I think you rode with me for the first 3 weeks. And then after that, it was a 10-year career. And so I think why we're sitting here today was that company had a mandate for every deal that we bring in via marketing, let's bring one in via networking. And that's we're starting to see that trend in our business right now.
We are.
And I feel like with my company, Mom's House, we're on the forefront of building relationships with people that are not in real estate. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about why that's important or why that's sustainable.
So you do the ride along, you ride with this guy.
Yeah.
So when you first transitioned wholesaling, it was an acquisition for somebody else.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.